In the last few weeks, we've seen a noteworthy spike in breaches coming from this UNC6040 group, also known as ShinyHunters, where they've been phishing Salesforce users and siphoning data with rogue connected apps. Today, with the help of my head of security, Corey, and our principal of threat detection research, David, we'll dig into how to harden Salesforce with AppOmni and how to detect this activity swiftly. Now, Corey, how should organizations go about hardening their Salesforce tenant against UNC6040 with AppOmni, and what are some of the side effects they should be aware of?
Yeah, so primarily you're going to want to enable API access controls in Salesforce, and this will allow you to whitelist connected applications that can use the API and use the OAuth2 flow, and then the users associated with them. In large orgs, Salesforce orgs, this can be problematic because you can break sort of existing integrations and even parts of the console that we've seen. So important to use a tool like AppOmni to go through, make a list of all the applications that are currently connected, and then the ones that you want to allow to use APIs and OAuth2 flows. And then you also want to make a list of the users that can use those applications and are associated with them. So if this does cause some problems for specific users, you can then use a configuration called use any API call, and this sort of overrides that configuration to allow the users, probably admins, to use any API call. The one thing you have to keep in mind is those users are then susceptible to the phishing attack still, because obviously they have the permissions to do an OAuth2 flow. And then lastly, you can leverage IP whitelisting if you're controlling the egress of your organization through a single or group of IPs. You could restrict access to Salesforce to only those specific IP addresses, which are the egress for your organization. Those are the primary controls that we see currently in place. Salesforce is releasing some new functionality in late September, which will enhance some of these controls so that they can be more effective. But until then, that's what we've got.
Perfect. Excellent. And then, David, how would a security team detect UNC6040 in their environment, some of that unusual activity or anomalous activity in Salesforce with AppOmni?
Yeah, thank you, Drew. So AppOmni Threat Detection continuously monitors OAuth app activity for Salesforce as well as other monitored services. We have the ability to alert on new or first seen OAuth apps, especially those with privileged scopes, suspicious names, or other anomalous attributes. We also enrich all related audit logs with user identity and IP context in order to alert on unusual activity, such as a user querying an API for the first time or exporting data from an atypical location, such as a privacy VPN or Tor. Our team is constantly testing and improving our threat detection rules to stay ahead of threats like UNC6040. We've developed multiple rules specifically to detect this kind of attack, including logins from an application matching a ShinyHunters indicator, which is when a user is logged into Salesforce from an app with a name that matches a known ShinyHunters indicator. Also, a high volume API query from a VPN address, which is when a user performs an API query to export from a non-enterprise VPN or Tor, which returns a large volume of data from Salesforce. And then lastly, a UABA rule, which is an OAuth app login via proxy or VPN from anomalous network location, which is when a user logs in via an OAuth app from a non-corporate VPN or residential proxy from a network location not seen in their recent history.
Awesome. Thank you both for walking us through some of those key techniques that can help organizations harden their Salesforce against UNC6040 attacks by locking down the connected apps, moving access to admin-only approved pre-authorization, and tightening the data egress. We can prevent UNC6040 intrusions, layer in AppOmni's continuous monitoring for suspicious OAuth activity, API bulk spikes, and large report exports. We can gain the visibility necessary to respond fast. Takeaway is very simple. AppOmni turns best practice controls into daily guardrails so our Salesforce environment stays resilient against these attacks. Thanks again. Thanks for watching. Have a good one.